Have you ever noticed that some people can walk into a room and somehow make you feel small, guilty, or wrong, even when you did nothing? Why does that happen? And more importantly, why do some people seem immune to it? Here's the strange part. Toxic people don't actually control you with strength. They control you with psychological triggers inside your brain. And the moment you stop reacting to those triggers, something unexpected happens. Their power disappears. But most people never learn the 5 psychological shifts that make this possible. Imagine this. You're in a conversation with someone. At first, everything seems normal, but then they say something subtle, a small criticism, a sarcastic comment, a joke that somehow targets you. Suddenly, you feel the need to explain yourself, to defend yourself, to prove that you're not wrong. And without realizing it, the entire conversation is now revolving around their frame. They push, you react, and slowly they gain control. But here's the disturbing truth. They didn't control the situation because they were stronger. They controlled it because your brain automatically reacted. Human brains are wired for social survival. For thousands of years, being rejected by the group meant danger. So your brain developed a powerful instinct: avoid conflict, seek approval, maintain harmony. Psychologists call this social validation bias, and toxic personalities often exploit this instinct. They trigger guilt, they trigger doubt, they trigger emotional reactions. But here's the twist. When you understand these patterns, you can break them. And the first step is surprisingly simple. 1. Stop explaining yourself. Most toxic dynamics start with one trap: over-explaining. The moment you start defending every small decision, you give the other person authority over you. This idea appears in the book, The 48 Laws of Power, which explains that power often comes from refusing to justify yourself unnecessarily. When you stay calm and brief, the psychological balance shifts because control requires your emotional participation. Without it, the game collapses. 2. Don't reward drama. Here's something your brain might not want to hear. Many toxic behaviors survive because they get attention, and attention is a powerful psychological reward. In behavioral psychology, this is called reinforcement. The book Atomic Habits explains that behaviors that receive attention tend to repeat. So when someone creates drama and you react strongly, you unintentionally train them to continue. But when you respond with calm neutrality, the reward disappears, and without reward, the behavior slowly fades. 3. Control your emotional signals. Here's where brain science becomes fascinating. Inside your brain is a small structure called the amygdala. Its job is to detect threats, but it doesn't just react to physical danger. It also reacts to social threats, criticism, rejection, embarrassment. Toxic people often trigger your amygdala intentionally, because when your emotional brain activates, your logical thinking shuts down. The book Emotional Intelligence explains that the ability to pause before reacting is one of the strongest predictors of psychological control. When you slow your reaction, you take control back from your emotional brain, and suddenly, manipulation stops working. But here's the uncomfortable truth most people avoid. Sometimes toxic people don't stop, because your reaction was never the only source of their power. There's something deeper. Human social systems naturally form hierarchies. Some people constantly test where they stand. They push boundaries, they challenge reactions, they observe who submits. Not always consciously, often it's just instinct. But the moment you stop reacting the way they expect, you quietly shift your position in that social hierarchy, and the dynamic changes. In the end, toxic people rarely control others with intelligence or strength. They control through predictable reactions. And once you understand those reactions, you stop playing the role they expect. Because the real secret is this: the moment you control your responses, you become impossible to control. And that's something most manipulators can't handle. Please subscribe for yourself.